Hello, my name is Anastasia, and this is a video of how things are from my perspective since my husband came to me on New Year's Day this year and told me that he was transgender. It is now, I believe, April 8th. It'll be April 9th in 3 minutes because it's very close to midnight. And I wanted to do a video about how things are physically. So far, my videos have covered a lot of emotions and some social aspects, and I want to do some about the physical changes that have happened since Rain let herself be known. The biggest physical change, like for Rain, has been the appearance of very feminine breasts. Now, Rain has not been on hormones. Actually, that's not technically true. The day before yesterday, she started her T blockers. But Rain had breasts kind of appear about a month and a half ago, I think. They've made themselves a bit more known as time has passed. I had no idea that was possible. And Rain was told by a couple medical professionals that it's not very common at all, but it has happened before. So, and this puts her on top of the world as it should, because even without the introduction of hormones, her body is starting to become how she feels inside. And I am very happy for her. It's not that she needed any reassurance that she was making the right choice, but it's always nice to have your body agree with your mind, right? So that was very happy for her. When I first noticed the breasts were growing, I won't lie, I was terrified. Talking about and reading about things about how the person you've loved and you've always looked at a certain way is going to totally change genders is one thing, but actually watching their body change is totally different, because that totally reaffirms that this is real and this is reality. And so the appearance of those breasts, which I think are an A cup now, really terrified me, because this is your life and it's not just about me, right? It's about Rain, and this is real, this is happening now, and this is before even hormones are introduced. And so the breasts are a pretty big deal. And I know they're going to get bigger, actually. I know they're going to get bigger once more hormones are introduced, and she's going to develop and soften and look more feminine. And I'm fine with that. Actually, the only thing I told Rain was just make sure your breasts aren't bigger than mine. Don't want to have breast envy from my spouse. But even if they are bigger than mine, I'm sure I'll adapt. So another thing is Rain has been working out, which I've mentioned before, and eating properly and taking care of herself for the most part. On her down days, it's a bit harder. But when she's got her momentum going, it's going. And she's lost quite a bit of weight, inches on her stomach, and her butt has firmed up and lifted. And honestly, from behind, she's got like a silhouette, like not like that much. She's not like Barbie or anything, but she has a little hourglass going on. Well, from the front too, obviously, but from the back, when you look at her like badunkadunk and her silhouette, she's like female. And from the front, with the appearance of the budding breasts, she's becoming female there too. Now, I'm not sure how quickly things are going to switch because the T blockers were just introduced the day before yesterday. But we're now moving forward. Like, it's not just talk anymore. The appointments have been had, the medical professionals are involved, and the changes officially started. And that's kind of scary too, I won't lie, because the physical changes are going to happen before I know it. And so, like, as I go, I know I can say, oh, I'm going to react like this. But when it comes down to it, that's probably going to be totally wrong because I've been pretty wrong about how everything I guessed about so far. So my wife has a wonderful butt and budding breasts that are just going to get bigger. And her facial hair is very patchy now. She's had one laser hair removal session, and we're both very pleased with the results because a lot of the facial hair is missing now. Like, there's still some there. Obviously, you got to go back for more and more and more, but there's enough there that it's very enough missing that it's very encouraging. Another thing is Rain has like thinning hair, which a lot of people have issues with, and in the last month or so, it doesn't seem as thin, which is very odd as well. I don't know if that's because it's growing out and it just covers more area, or if it's growing thicker or like denser because of whatever hormones her body is naturally excreting, like with the appearance of the breasts. But she's a little bit happy about that, and so am I, because now it's looking better. Another physical aspect is, I know I mentioned before, the hair removal. The hair removal is not been an easy journey, like the body hair and the facial hair. But the facial hair we're getting covered, like we've got it covered. We just keep going for the facial hair removal treatments and it'll be gone. The body hair, we tried a few different ways of doing it. We tried waxing, and we tried plucking, and we tried creams and shaving, and honestly, we found something that worked best, and it's a cream. I don't remember who makes it, but it's like a cream to remove male hair, and it works way better than like the Nair and the other stuff that's made for like women's fine baby hair. So we bought this hair removal cream and we applied it to the worst areas, and it worked really well. It removed the hair, which is what we wanted, right? Unfortunately, Rain's a bit sensitive to it, so it's not a painless process, but it's not as painful as like waxing or plucking. So, and shaving's just really not the best option. So we've been doing that sporadically. I haven't been very good on keeping up with that. We should probably like pick it one day a week or something and just beautify each other up, do eyebrows and all that stuff, and maybe I'll suggest that, or I'll wait till Rain watches my video and then let her approach me, which is probably more likely what's going to happen. Another physical change has been our relations. When Rain first made herself known, our relations went off the chart. Like very often, very intense, very open, and like really good. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Rain was free for the first time ever in her life to act how she wanted to act in intimate situations without having her partner look at her and go, like, what was that? Or whatever they would say, because I had advance notice, right? She told me what was going on before we reached that stage, and it was very good and very intense, and very often. Now, in the preceding months, there have been a lot of downs with the transition, like where things aren't moving fast enough, or products you ordered didn't show up, or the facial hair removal not going through the first try, and just there's so many issues with the transition, like not issues but delays, and that brings Rain down and brings me down. And then of course there's no relations because we're both miserable people in those moments. So it's been more sporadic, but it is way different than it was before New Year's. Like when I was with Joseph, it was good. It was very good, and I enjoyed myself. But with Rain, it's more intimate, in a lot of ways. Like Mr. Happy doesn't work the way Mr. Happy worked before New Year's. Before New Year's, it was typical, let's have relations or whatever, and it always ended the same. And since Rain made herself known, Mr. Happy doesn't come into play very often, and that's for obvious reasons. There's how can you embrace your femininity when you have a very unfeminine body part that's getting involved? So although I still like Mr. Happy, he doesn't come out to play much anymore, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. Because of that, our relations are a lot more intimate and intense and satisfying on many different levels. And even when Mr. Happy comes to play, I know it affects Rain emotionally and mentally. It's like not easy for her. So even though like I'm getting what I thought I wanted, it's not really as good as it was before New Year's, because I just find it less enjoyable when I know my partner's not enjoying the moment, right? I'm trying to keep this not rated R, so and it's a pretty intimate thing to be discussing, but like if you're obviously the physical relationship is going to change, and you can find crude stuff all over about how that is, but I'm trying to do this with a little bit more dignity than those individuals. So our physical relationship, our relations have changed. To do with that, but more on an emotional level, I have to take the initiative way more than I used to. With Joseph took the initiative most of the time. And that's how it was, because Joseph was a boy and I was a girl, but that's not really how it was. That was Rain thinking that the boy has to take the initiative, and so going for it. But now she needs a little bit more of the reassurance. Now that she can actually be open and honest about what she needs, she needs more of the reassurance and to feel pretty and loved, and so it's just like, hey, yo, let's go. It's a little bit more work because women tend to be a little bit more work than men. So that does make sense. I'm still adapting to that because honestly, I got used to things being the way they were and just assumed that's how they would always be. So 9 times out of 10, if I want relations and I don't get it, it's my fault because I'm not taking the initiative, where before I would just bat my eyelashes and get what I want, right? So I have to change how I do things as well, because Rain is being honest and open, and she's worth the work, so maybe I should put some effort into it instead of batting my eyelashes. So That's something that's changed. That was more emotional, mental than physical. Sorry, I kind of got off topic. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to talk about. I've tried rehearsing my videos and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. By the time I think what I'm going to say and I sit down in front of the camera and start talking, I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. Even if I did rehearse it, actually every time, it has not been what I thought I was going to say. I did want to share that I find these videos very, very therapeutic. I find out a lot from myself while I make them, because a lot of times I feel a certain way, but I'm not sure why I feel that way until I'm actually sitting here and blawing it all out, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. So I really hope you guys find them somewhat beneficial, because I know I definitely do. And I hope you all have a wonderful time until I see you again. Thank you very much.